This is where the fun begins.
The fate of the galaxy is now in your hands. With the new LEGO Star Wars Slave One, you can load Captain Solo, arm your weapon systems, man the cockpit, and take off with the most feared ship in the galaxy. But watch out for rebel ships. No matter the enemy, no matter the firepower, you control the action. With the new LEGO Star Wars collection.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel on a beautiful Sunday afternoon, I guess, evening. Yeah, it's 3 p.m. where I'm at. And so thank you guys for coming in. And I just wanted to jump in and chat with you guys. I missed you guys from coffee chat. It's been a crazy end of my week. And today is also marks the beginning of the acquisition of Lucasfilm by Disney. So that deal never went through until a month or like almost a month later. So I just wanted to chat the state of Star Wars Lucasfilm with you guys and just check in and see what you guys' goals are with going forward with the EU versus our George Lucas era versus Disney. So I'm going to go ahead and see who's in the chat here and say hello first, and then we'll get into the topic. So I do have Orange Hat. Thank you for coming in. And Batsy, Hail OG in chat. And let's see here. And there's Batsy again. And then Kenny Long. Good evening. And he probably meant OG. Yes, he did. And D Nice Gamer. Missed those old Legos commercials. Hail OG in chat. Yeah, I love those commercials. In fact, I'm looking for some more. I haven't had a chance to take and browse for any, but I like to use them for my shows because it's like nostalgia, like in the best way, because it brings back, if you grew up with Star Wars from since you were little, no matter if it's the OT or the PT or even the EU with the games, those do bring back a lot of memories, some wonderful memories of watching, reading, playing the games, even playing with the action figures, all of that, waiting for the next novel to come out. Yeah, like the anticipation of getting so sucked into a series that once you're done with the novel, you have to wait some odd months to get the new one, right? And sometimes there was a chance that they came out slightly early, and sometimes there wasn't. So let me see here who is all coming in. And Razvin, hello. Slave One, say the name. Say my name. Say my name. Yeah. And then Zim, the Deep Despot. What's up, everyone? Guess who just got out of prison? What? Prison with it? What? Are you talking about yourself? Like prison for Twitter, real life prison? What's going on? All right. And then Matthew. Hey, well, it's great to see your beautiful face. Thank you so much. Thank you. I usually try to have my face all done up, but I haven't done that in a while. And then I see the Sentinel. Hail and happy Halloween, Laura. Yes, tomorrow's Halloween. And I always thought, should I do a Halloween stream and dress up? But I haven't had a chance to even put together a costume. And me, if I was going to do it on my channel, it would be a Star Wars character. So I don't have crap right now. I don't, other than a lightsaber, which I don't know where I stored it at. It's somewhere here in my art studio, which I need to I'm revamping, and I do have art projects that are going on behind me. That's why my Ashaj is kind of, and my easel's kind of blocking the area there because I have a lot of stuff going on back behind there. Let's see here. And then Chaos. Hey, what's up? How you doing? And then Soul Assassin. What's up, Soul? We got some soul in here. We got some soul in here. Hey, how you doing? Hi, everyone. Please hit that like button and share stream out. Yes, thank you. And then transitioning, Drunk 3PO. Okay. All right. Hi, transitioning. You didn't go to Geeks and Gamers meetup? No, I can't afford it. And right now I just like being low key, and I'm all good. I'm good. I hope they're having fun, seeing the pictures and all that. Let's see. Still pissed off when she told George she would honor the classical characters. Yeah, we'll get into that. We will get into all of that. I just want to say hello and I'll pull up. I was going to do, me being the kind of organized person I am, I was going to do a, what do you call it? A PowerPoint of all the points I wanted to talk about regarding the acquisition and the final date that they became the sole owners, all of that, but I didn't have time. So I'm going to use my tweet that I did on Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, find me on Twitter. I have two type of pages. One is my public, like sheer public page where I talk about anything, mostly Star Wars. I also compare and contrast. I share about what lore they're contradicting, how they're contradicting themselves within their own lore within Disney Star Wars. We already know, if you've been an EU fan for a while now and you've read a lot of it, we know that there was some contradictions that had to be fixed or retconned to make the story more fluid and the history more seamless, So there was those instances, and we've never said otherwise that there wasn't fixes that had to happen. But with Disney Star Wars, they're totally ignoring their own lore, and every time a new publication comes out, whether it's on the screen, in the book, the game, or what have you, there's a lot of contradictions there. They're always I wouldn't say retconning. They're always contradicting their continuity because not all of it is a fix. And then when they try to fix it, they make it worse. But we won't get into that just yet. Do you buy Lego Star Wars stuff? I've never cared much for Legos. So all those Lego fans, I'm sorry. I've never cared much for Legos. And I have never ever gone to Legoland because of that. That's just not my bag. But those who do, I admire you guys for sitting down, putting it all together, building it. My adopted brother, he loved Legos. And I remember he had, was it a Millennium Falcon one that he was putting together? It was a long time ago too. We were just kids. Yeah, but he was an avid one. So, and thank you so much. And let's see here. Happy Halloween. I think everything like jumped up. Let me see here. Let me see here. Don't worry, OG. I just escaped pet prison. Okay. I just appealed my Twitter for the third time this year, hoping that it'll get reinstated with Elon Musk. Yeah, maybe it will. I hope that people who were treated unfairly according to their Twitter account and got suspended are discontinued on Twitter. I hope that gets resolved here. I don't wish anybody, no matter if we don't share the same opinion or what have you, I don't wish that on anybody. Now, so let's see here. And saw the fire spray toy at Target. It's only for the Lego seats. Let's see here. And sorry, had to step away for a moment. 10 years later, I am looking at hollowed quartz that has scavengers picking at the meat that is left. It truly is sad how Star Wars under Disney has turned out. And I do have a poll on that. So are you happy with this or Lucasfilm? 10 years later, are you happy with Lucasfilm? Yes or no? That's all you got to do. If there's yeses, so be it. That's your opinion. No need to explain yourselves. But I did ask in a question earlier that some of you guys may not have seen. Let me scroll up here real quick to find it. Nope, it's not showing up. I don't see it. Yes. This is here. Please share any moments you liked under Disney Lucasfilm. Yes, I asked. I did ask. I just want to know, what were you happy about? Because we're going to, more or less get into the meat and potatoes of this. And I'm going to put a disclaimer here. That's not going to be too popular with a lot of people's opinions, especially those who really support Disney Lucasfilm, which, Darth Malvin says Disney shill. So if, so it's not going to be very friendly maybe to them, maybe not, maybe, I don't know. I'm not saying that we're going to sit here and just really talk shit, but we are going to get into a lot of things that for the reasons why we were turned off. So maybe if, you know, we have someone who doesn't understand why we we talk the way we do and how we feel the way we do. So, you know, there's more than emotions. You know, I'm not saying this upon emotions, but there is emotions behind that. But our thoughts about us, the observation, and all of that, like all of those together, why we are the way we are now with Disney Star Wars, especially with the state it was in the beginning, when they allowed their own associates to bash fans, and then also seeing Luke Skywalker's head eggs out in the red X. I look like I did a DX thing, huh? Yeah, so that there's all of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and scroll down to the bottom here because you guys are hopping in the chat, which I love to see. I love to see that very much. Let's see here. Rodimus, hey, what's up? OG, correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason why George Lucas didn't want Luke to get married was because he hated Mara Jade. No, the real reason was because he was going through a divorce at the time. Who knows? He didn't care for Mara Jade's look. If you really get down into it and research it, he didn't care for her look. It was too much cosmopolitan. However, the company and himself even stated that anything that you see in the lore is because he wanted it there. So if he didn't necessarily like her, that would not have happened whatsoever, because Luke is his character. Any movie characters, especially any movie characters, he had utmost say in how that goes, and their family. That's why you see like a turn of events that happened in New Jedi Order. If you haven't researched behind New Jedi Order, maybe you wouldn't have known, but the one that was supposed to be killed off was Jason, not Anakin. And George didn't want to have two Anakins in the timeline at the same time, even though us fans could just distinguish between the two. He just didn't want the two competing with each other. So yeah, but then on top of that, there's other reason why his story changed in there, because he didn't want the plot to happen the way it did. He didn't want the Vong to be Sith. You know, there's a lot of dynamics going on in that. So, you know, you just got to sit down and just do your research and put two and two together, you know, because we know George has stated many times or contradicted his own statements many, many times. And then to a point where the company had to go and correct him, you know, on those accounts as well. Let me see here. Have you seen the fan film on YouTube? No, I have not yet. So maybe if someone wants to share the link, I can watch that later, and maybe we can do a watch party together as a channel with that. And then Renee, hey Renee Patrick, I did enjoy Mandalorian and Baby Grogu, but that's been the only bright spot. And if you guys don't know me now, and Soul Assassin really just went in hard on that. That sounded really bad, but But Soul Assassin and my YouTube channel, community channel, I asked people to share their favorite species and maybe their favorite character, and he shared that little wannabe Yoda bastard, Grogu. I don't care for him. I don't like him. I don't. He was just another thing of like, let's make our own Yoda, and I think he's OP. I don't think that they represented him very well with, he was trained by many masters for 50 years old and is still a baby. That doesn't make sense whatsoever. But that could be another story for another time. Kenny, the only Disney Star Wars I like in Rogue One is Rogue One and Mandalorian. I hate almost everything they have done. And then you guys know my opinion about Rogue One. So, but I will leave that at that. Hey, Tahilium. Disney Star Wars series Rebels would have been a better story if it came from the biased review, or came from a biased review from the Empire's perspective. Maybe, who knows? But they're not. I don't think that they're even getting the Empire right in the Andor show. But I don't know. And then Darkwing Duck, Disney Star Wars is trash. I have to take a look at the poll to see what you guys have to say on that poll. Renee says, I always thought so too. Oh, they're talking with each other. Let's see. George Lucas is Luke Skywalker, so he probably thought that wasn't his type. Maybe, I don't know. That could be it. Marjade over Marsha. Mara Jade is way much more better than Marcia. Mara Jade would have kept him in line, right? But still love the hell out of him because that's how Mara is, you know. But Marcia, you seen our EFAP on the spacing. You guys will probably form a different opinion about her. And it's a huge hit piece against George. It is. So Marcia was the reason Star Wars A New Hope was awesome. No, not really. She was one of them, but she wasn't the reason. So, all right. I used to like Rebels, The Force Awakens, and Marvel Comics. I unbrainwashed myself. You kind of like, you know, reconstructed yourself. Renee's laughing. The Green Gremlin. And thank you, Big Raj. Awesome. Canadian 1 and 99 super sticker. Thank you so much. Soul Assassin. Slow your roll on that. I swear to God. All right. Rogue One. Rogue One. Let's see here. I want to see what you guys have to say, and then I'm going to bring up my tweet or my tweet here. So let's see. The only thing from Disney that I enjoyed are Rogue One and now Andor. Everything else is meh at best, trash at worst. The only reason why you like those two is because they're rehashes of Dark Forces in a sense. And also that's the only reason. And that's funny because they have to reuse a story that's already established, that was already loved and everything. So I don't know. So to me, why love secondhand trash when you can love the source, love the original story? That's how it is. That's how I feel about even the characters they bring in. Oh, we're going to appease the EU fans and bring in one of their beloved characters, you know, so we're going to pacify them. And then they totally change everything because the original characters can't fit in their lore because they totally changed the lore, right? So, I mean, why do you want to love secondhand when you have the original? Think about that. Why would you love secondhand when there's still the original? I don't know. Just throwing that out there. I mean, love what you love, right? Love what you love. But that's just my thought. Why secondhand when you have the original? Yeah. They're incompetent morons to make the heroes look good. Remember to execute Order 66, Ahsoka Tano. Let's see. All I know is when I look at George Lucas, I see a man that has a lot of regrets. Yeah, I think he does. I think he has seller's remorse. I really do. Zim. I saw episode 7 in the theater. I was disappointed on how dumb it was and was displeased later when I found out about the EU was disregarded. Correct. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into that because I know I'm trying to get through your guys' chats here. But, you know, I want to get into this part here first. So here is this right here. So I did do my tweet. It was this morning when I realized, oh, shit, today is the day when, you know, when they announced that there's a deal to acquire Lucasfilm for $4 billion, that was going to be going through. So today, the course of Lucasfilm was changed. Disney announced a deal to acquire Lucasfilm for $4.05 billion. So today wasn't actually the buy-off date. There, you know, in legal sense, things happen. You get things in motion, and then it has to go through the legal sense before it is fully, you know, a full purchase. There's a lot of dynamics that goes on behind that. But today is the day that it was announced that Disney is acquiring Lucasfilm for $4 billion. So with you guys in the chat, how did you feel with this announcement? Where were you at? How did you feel? Were you hopeful? Were you skeptical? Did you have I had that bad feeling, you know, so did you have a bad feeling about this? What was your state of mind when you heard about that announcement? Let me go ahead and check in the chat. Let's see here. And then it says, I tried to give Disney the benefit of the doubt, view it as it was own continuity, but they messed up so bad and didn't go do one original thing. Yeah. So go ahead. So how did you feel when you learned Were you happy? Were you upset? Were you skeptical? Were you curious? What was your reaction? Okay, I was like, this is amazing. Okay. I think there's a lot of people who are kind of hopeful. I respect the original source that tell the story of how rebels get the plans, but they're kind of messy. Rogue One is a ripoff. The original source wasn't really messy at all. There was a reason why that it was broke up, and the plans were broke up in, different. There's a reason why the Empire had the plan split into different in different locations and stuff. You see, I was asleep and woke up to the awful news on Tumblr. Wow, Tumblr, huh? Heard it on Tumblr first. Now I read the newspaper when it happened, and it was horrified. I knew that Disney had to a bad track record and adapting properties by that time, and without Lucas there was no Star Wars. Wow, that's a good observation. I so stupidly thought it would be great for Disney to buy Lucasfilm. And I think that's what George thought too, that he thought that it was going to be something to keep it alive, because he knew that he couldn't fully retire if he brought in someone else as his successor, right? So he knew that if he did that, he wouldn't be able to just stand by and let them run a company. He would still have to be hands-on. Let's see here. I thought it was a bad move. Hey, Stig. Stig says, I thought it would be good. Lucas almost said flat out that they were going to make movies out of the books, etc. Can see it in an interview with him and KK. I fell for it. Yeah, that interview, I was going to think about pulling up that interview, but I don't want to rehash that interview. But there's the interview where, he's like, I gave you a treasure trove of novels and blah, blah, blah for you to work at. And she's like, yeah, we will honor blah, 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 blah. That bullshit that everybody quotes all the time. People were led to believe that it was going to be all good. And I'm pretty sure that's how George felt. And when he appointed Kennedy, and basically trained her as an apprentice, because when this was all going on, and I didn't put it in this timeline here that I shared on Twitter, but like as the acquisition was going on, he then brought in, Kathleen Kennedy to co-chair with him. So basically he was apprenticing her. So if you want to say he had an apprentice, I'd say it's Kennedy. Sorry to say, I know, sounds like blasphemy, but that was the point. He brought her in. So by time they solely owned the corporation, the Lucasfilm, then she would have an idea what to expect. So then on December 18th, 2012, Lucas Limited converted from a corporation to limited liability company December. So basically it went from a company to a limited liability company. So that means that it's under an umbrella of something, in short. So it went from its sole own company or corporation, if you want to call it that, to now being umbrellaed under a bigger corporation. This is all legalese, reasons too, tax reasons, all of that. But basically it changed its company status because it's not its own company anymore. It is now owned by a larger corporation. So it's umbrellaed under Disney. And that's what that means. So think about that. It went from its own company that was led by George Lucas and his company. And, I'm not saying the EU was perfect, but man, when they made the EU, they made all the years of history between all the eras. They did pretty well by it. And if there was any errors in there, they did really, really good at correcting those mistakes so that the history could be seamless, I guess you could say, as much as it can. So they basically ironed it out over the years as they progressed with the company. And that was the main focus. And that's why many people are now kind of put off with Disney Lucasfilm, because everybody was so used to a wonderful continuity that told a story that, had a rich history. And when you look into it, the history goes to 100,000 years, with the beginning of the universe with the Celestials and stuff. And then, you fast forward and you have the Rakata and then all of that going on there. And then you go all the way into the future. Then you have Cade Skywalker and the one Sith and all that history going on there, and everything in between. They under Leland Shee, they did a pretty damn good job at ironing things out, especially when new stuff, like when they decided to really pay attention and make the EU authentic. And even though I said the Thrawn trilogy is overrated, it is the one that set the precedence to what's to be expected with the lore, because everybody's reaction, the fans' reaction to that, made Lucasfilm really realize that, we need to really pay attention to this lore here. This is what our fans want. Even though they did reference, the Western games and stuff in the earlier development of story to kind of keep everything in line. Once those stories came out, they're like, okay, the fans, they want this continuity. They want this seamless history. We have our work cut out for us. And that's a beautiful thing. And so when you look fast forward into Disney era now, they're not doing a good job. In fact, the story group said that they're not in the position to veto anybody's decision any direction that part of the lore goes that contradicts another. So they're not in the position to correct any mistakes, is what I'm trying to say. And that is for fans who are so used to like having these corrections, having this wonderful years and decades and centuries or whatever of history. Now that's not a thing in Star Wars. If you are tuning in, welcome. We're just talking 10 years after the state of Lucasfilm. Please let me know on the poll what you think. Answer yes or no if you agree with the direction or the state of Lucasfilm today. Let me see what you guys have to say. OG in chat, have you watched The Toys That Built America, the episode of season 2, The Masters of Toy Universe, and the huge part about Kenner getting the Star Wars license? I have not seen that, but that does remind me of like the world records George Lucas set with Star Wars, and that's including the EU. He set a world record with the largest amount of books, like even comics, that spun off the movies. So he won that. That's a world record that he holds. Another one is his the merch, like action figures and all the merch and stuff like that. That's another world record he set, and I don't think any company has broke those yet. Let's see here. Eric Cartman was very against Lucasfilm being bought by Disney in South Park. South Park was right. Yeah, I think I remember that. I loved it then soon as they tossed out the EU, then I got worried. I was very, very, very skeptical. And the minute they announced, and we'll get into that right now, about the EU no longer being canon and not being used because they wanted to create their own creative freedom, I'm like, I'm like kind of tuned out. And one thing that brought me to YouTube to create my channel for George Lucas era of Star Wars was The Last Jedi. And part of the platform, which I haven't done in a long, long time, I still have Rogue One versus Dark Forces still being put together. I lost a lot of the content of that video was supposed to be published already when I got into my car accident. But I love doing compared and contrast videos between both the lores because, they all tie to the movies, right? They all tie to the movies. So, and then the lore that came before is basically the canon, the original lore. Even when they say, oh, it's not canon anymore, it is basically the canon that sets up the standards. And so anybody has the right to compare between the two because original lore, whether it was a movie or not, is what set the standards of Star Wars. And that's why people feel so disenfranchised with the company today. Let's see here. I love all Star Wars really right now. Okay. Keely, what's up? What's going on? We're just talking about the state of Star Wars, our Lucasfilm 10 years from today. And yeah, damn, it's been 10 years. Yeah. So it's been 10 years, but it's been under 10 years since they declared the EU non-canon. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see. I thought it would be good. Lucas. Oh, yeah, I read that one already. Let me see here. Let's go ahead and scroll down here. I hate this mouse sometimes. So basically on April, oh wait, no, let me go ahead and finish this one up here. And when Disney finally gained full control was December 21st, 2012. So people don't realize that the announcement is that they are acquiring it, they're purchasing it, but the deal, everything didn't go through until December 21st, 2012. So that's the date that actually they became the owners of the company. Like I said, there's legal stuff that has to be set before then. I would like to say, but I don't know the contract. None of us knows the contract, that there probably was a grace period for maybe George to change his mind. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the contract, but sometimes there are grace periods on like, okay, I'm going to retract, as we've seen with Elon Musk, but that's another story in itself. Yeah. Let's see here. And then, so April 25th, 2014 is the D-Day basically for the EU, where they said it's no longer legit. However, we will be picking and choosing what we want to use out of that, which is kind of a slap in the face. It's not an honoring. It's not like, oh, we're going to honor you, even though we said, you know, it's no longer relevant. We're going to go ahead and use some of it anyways. That's not honoring it. Honoring it is basically saying we're going to keep it. We're going to work around it. We have a lot of places that we could fill in, and we can expand, you know, decades later after the Skywalker family or after the movies, because I don't consider it Skywalker saga. But we can expand it because the Skywalker saga basically is the whole entire Star Wars timeline, even when they're not present, because those events set up the state of events that we see on film through George. So, and these are all people that live and contributed to the significant parts of the lore in those eras and stuff like that. So I'd never really seen it as a Skywalker saga. I've seen, you know, like the movies as is. It's always been about the Skywalkers. And it also had pivotal players too for like the era where there was no Skywalkers present. And then we get wonderful stories from that. So, but Lucasfilm rebranded the expanding universe material as Star Wars Legends and declared it non-canon to the franchise. So that's the thing here. But you can't declare something canon or not canon. The only person that can is the original creator. And those star logs and other quotes that you see being used time and time again, that's not George declaring it was not canon. That was his perspective on the hierarchy of canon, which only means that, you know, the movies is what built the foundation, right? The movies are the foundation basically, and the frame of the company, and then everything else that forms around it that, you know, goes back to it is basically, you know, the extension of that foundation basically. So that's why it says expanded universe. It's expanding off of the movies, off of itself, off of the lore, all interconnected some way, somehow. And you know, and I would love to have a challenge of next time you read, and maybe I'll announce it in my YouTube community, of the story that you're reading, find a couple of callbacks to other parts of Star Wars history and share it with me on the YouTube community. So like if you're reading Plagueis, for example, Darth Plagueis, you know, what are some things that you can reference back to the movie and back to an EU event? Because you will most likely find that in almost every single material that you read, even a game that you play. And then I go on to say, this is the history of the reconstruction or restructure through new ownership. Since these events, many fans will still feel disenfranchised. There is a clear division to that company, that the company created. Yeah, and I forgot. Me and my phone don't get along on how their employees, associates treated fans. Disney dismayed how legacy characters are continued to be treated how loose they were with the lore and not keeping continuity. While there are fans who like the lore and dismiss continuity, many are not fully supporting a once timeless, well-organized lore from a galaxy far, far away. So that's my opinion on that as well. So let's see what you guys have to say. I think new canon had a chance to be good. They wasted so much. And I wouldn't even say it's new canon, it's just the new lore. Because new canon, it's, yeah. Well, I will not get into the logistics of that, though. And Steek says, with the EU, at least they tried to keep great continuity. Disney done nothing. Yeah, and even with the little Tales of the Jedi, which I did a video on the use of the title of Tales of the Jedi and them not paying homage or respect or giving a nod back to Tom Veitch on that. He's the one, that's his brainchild. He's the one that proposed Tales of the Jedi to George. George loved it. They worked together on that. They also worked together on creating the Sith lore. So at least if, you know, Filoni was so big into like respecting George Lucas, you would think that maybe, just maybe, at the end of credits, inspired by, Tom Veitch, Tales of the Jedi, even though they didn't use any of the content within that story and recreated their own, staying within the PT era, basically, you would have thought at least there would have been some kind of respect paid, especially since he passed away this last February. But does that sound like another story to you? Does that sound very similar to what happened to Wolverton? Because that's exactly how it feels. That's exactly how it feels. And that's another reason why I don't care for the company, Disney Lucasfilm. Before, you would read acknowledgments inside the books or interviews from the authors, respecting each other's material. Yeah, there were still a few things where, like, Timothy Zahn thought that he should have been consulted about Mara's death. But yeah, he created the character. But guess what? Mara was a company character now. They had the right to do that. But yeah, I get what he thought. I get that he wanted to be consulted about his character. I get that. But, it is what it is. But that's the same. That's just how they are. That's, if you look on it, they don't honor their contracts with their authors. That's something that I myself and a few others have touched bases on. And also Wolverton, not honoring Wolverton when they were talking about the Witches of Dathomir and the Night Sisters. They basically gave credit to Filoni in a sense. And that was brought up by Tim. He, wrote about, or he tweeted about that, the author of that article. And that was straight off of StarWars.com. And then I followed suit, and I think myself and Tim and maybe another person or so made a video on that. And thank God that she seen that and, sent out a statement towards that on Twitter and corrected that. So at least that is something that I give a favor to, is that correction, but that just feels like the par when it comes to them. Comes to the associates, the workers at Lucasfilm, the creatives, and I use that word very, very, very loosely when it comes to them. Creatives. What does that mean for Lucasfilm today? Creatives should have had a hell nah option on the question. I was trying to I was thinking about putting a smart ass remark on that, but I'm like, I'll just put yes or no. Sorry. And then let's see here. If they didn't want to do the EU, could have done George's outline for the script. They didn't even honor that. And when you do research, okay, so I'm so big on research. That's why I always ask people who tell me stuff, cite your source, because I want to look further into it. Because sometimes people do cherry pick just certain little sections of what they're sharing, and then it later goes on to a correction or a different direction where that's not exactly what that little phrase said. So I want to do my research. And in fact, doing my research, and I'm going to go ahead and just take this off the screen now. Doing my research, inquires getting sources like this. This is one of my newer sources. I have other ones, and I want to like compare and contrast between that and even this, because there might be something missing from this that's in this, or vice versa. Especially when people are like, George meant the OTT to be Vietnam. Really? No, he didn't. It's kind of funny. Like they're so set on the political mindset today that they think George was just basing this timeless tale on a single event. And then when they say that, and then they're like, oh yeah, it's based on Vietnam, and the empire's America. And then later on they go, the empire is the Nazis. And I'm like, make up your mind. What is it? Because, is it really true that George but was inspired by events, not only Vietnam, but other things like, Greek mythology, Rome history, all of that. And that he took those inspirations of the times and the mythos, cultures, and created own themes and totally different story, because it's not just set on just one event, and there is no politics. None of our politics are in the story. None of it. He took those events and created the world's own politics through its, world building and all of that. Let's see here. Yeah, and so Assassin can contest to me going back and forth with these trolls about that, because they don't do the friggin' history research. They don't do the research on the platform on what's going on. Hey, 19K bucks, what's up? Vietnam, what a strange comparison. I know. I had someone literally say, it's literally based on Vietnam. It's about Vietnam. And I'm like, are you serious? Point to me what scene in the OT from each movie is Vietnam. And I didn't know Vietnam had X-Wings. I didn't know that the Viet Cong or the Vietnamese people are Ewoks. It's kind of strange, isn't it? Let's see here. It's kind of strange. All right. Filoni is two-faced as hell. He sure is. He goes and breaks lore, their own continuity, and then a video comes out about, oh, I honor lore, and we gotta be mindful, blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. You're full of shit, Filoni. You are fucking full of shit, and that's how I feel about you. World War II in space. And let's see. I like the OT and EU, but gotta say George ripped off a lot of ideas from Dune. He was inspired. That's another thing too. Like I said, if you get into these bits here, and then like the magic of myth and stuff like that, and you just go back and forth, and even other materials, because a lot of things are rehashed from some of these documented stuffs here, you will find what he was inspired by per movies and all of that. So he wasn't like ripping off. He was inspired by and got ideas from. There's a huge difference. He wasn't creating a Dune. He wasn't trying to recreate a Dune. He wasn't trying to recreate Vietnam in space. None of that. He even took the hero's journey. And I do have, Joseph Campbell's hero's journey book. And I have that, and that's Magic of Myth too. That breaks down every single thing that George was inspired by. Every single thing. So the OT is much more akin to World War II. So let's see here. I think the OT is its own lore that's akin to its own self that was set up by events from the PT. That's how I see it. But not limited to a single event. Let's see here. People politicized Star Wars aren't even consistent with what tells us what they think George was saying. It changes depending upon the trends in which decade your the line activists like. That's there's some truth in that. When one video that I shared, it's that video with interview with James Cameron. And I do have the book too of that interview, and there's a lot more to that interview, just what is said on camera. So I have the interview in the book, and but they use a certain clip is what I'm trying to say. They use a certain clip and saying, this is George saying it's based upon this and this and this. And no, they're talking about the themes. And then he's like, during my time, which his time, the Vietnam War just ended, all of that stuff was going on. During my time, that was what was going on. So basically saying during my time, what was going on was what I was inspired by. So he didn't even say that they were based or it was about those events. He was talking about inspiration. When you get into the book, it talks more about that. And then when you get into that book, an interview of with James Cameron and other interviews George set, he didn't have a ST or a sequel trilogy planned with the big three, really. A lot of his consistent talk was about the wills and thinking that if he did the wills, people wouldn't like it because it's going to go into more of a microscope kind of thing of like how the force is used, what the wills, who they were, blah, 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 blah. So let's see here. Yeah, so if you're tuning in, this is just talk about the state of Lucasfilm 10 years later. Please go check out the poll that I have there. In fact, I'm going to take a look. I got to open up my laptop for this. So I'm going to take a look and see what you guys voted on and go from there. So please let me know if you're tuning in right now. What pleased you about Star Wars under Disney? And now the other question is, what did you not like? What turned you off the minute it happened? So it could have been something in the movie. It could have been something in the books. It could have been an announcement. It could have been the Disney Lucasfilm associates really pissing off the fans. So let me know. Stupid. There we go. Yeah. So let me know. What turned you off towards the company? What was that? What was the event, the movie, what have you, that turned you off towards Lucasfilm? Let me take a look here. Let's see here. The Sentinel says, I would have loved to have seen that. One thing is you could still keep much of the continuity in the EU and still have found ways to fit the story. Yeah, that story would have been amazing because, like I said, there was like the script, the treatment that George gave the company, and I think that was part of the deal, was that George would give him a script on like how to continue the saga in his mind. So I think he gave them that. And that in itself can fit right after Crucible. If you guys are familiar with the Crucible novel, Luke does go off by himself, sabbatical wise. He's like, the order can take care of itself. It's strong enough, blah, blah, blah. I have my own things to do. It's time for me to separate and learn more about the Force, blah, 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 blah. You know, Jaina was set up to be the female protagonist along with Ben Skywalker and Jag. So we had the big three. And there you go. And so he did go off on his own. And, you know, the female protagonist, Jaina, she could have gone to him while he's doing his sabbatical and needed further training for something that could have been discovered. You know, there could have been so many possibilities towards that. So people saying that George would just dismiss and do away with the EU, I don't agree with, because he used a lot of EU in the prequel trilogy. If you really get into the meat and potatoes, and that's been my favorite word today, of the PT, and you know your EU, you know that there was a lot of EU used to world build in the PT to keep things consistent. Even though, you know, he warned, you know, the authors not to really discuss about the Clone Wars or the PT era, because that's what he wanted to dive in. And Zahn presumed that that he could still do it. And so we do have a little bit of conflict there, but that's all. That's all. So I'm going to go ahead and check your guys' replies here pretty quick. Lucasfilm constantly antagonizing Star Wars fan as it was the final straw. Okay. I was done at the green milk dribbling. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. The Last Jedi turned me off. It was a moment when the Lucasfilm staff started attacking fans for Rogue One after Rogue One came out. Yeah. The Last Jedi, yeah, I reread that one. I think, yeah. Luke just squeezed the blood out of my already dead heart. I'm so sorry. Let's see here. And if I skip yours or miss yours, I'm sorry. I'm not, there's no intention behind that. Hey, Revenge of the NetherRealm. Lucas constantly antagonizing Star Wars fans was the final straw. Yeah. I wanted to vomit when I saw KK wearing the Force's female shirt. Wow. That was it. They ruined the OT characters Mary Sue Ray in The Last Jedi, where they trashed Luke. Luke was the drop. After that, I was out. Started with Let Go of My Hand. Let Go of My Hand. Wow. That's so in The Force Awakens. Okay. I also think Luke would have wanted to find out who Darth Krayt was and trying to find out about the nature of the one Sith. That too, right there. Good point. I agree with that. Good point. Let me see here. Why is my YouTube channel not wanting to come up on my end here, on my other thing here? Let's see here. I gave this canon a chance. I was at every premiere with my club, and every chance was one disappointment after another. I'm so sorry, Batu. That's heartbreaking to hear. It is. So she, being someone that's been invested in the lore for a long time, that is truly heartbreaking. Let me see here. I don't know what's going on. Let me see. It's not letting me. Let me try this one more time. So all right. Let's see, when they refused to work with George at all, especially for the sequels. I didn't know that he offered to work with them. Am I missing something, or did I know and just kind of like took that out of my mind? I know he was very disappointed that they didn't use the treatment that he gave them. So I don't know. Let me see here. I don't know why it's not allowing me to go to my home screen. Oh, I know why. It's not, my internet's not on this computer. Laura, get with the program. All right, let's see here. I meant to read this one, but Star Wars is made for kids, dude, bro. The shutting down of LucasArts and canceling 1313 really annoyed me. And you know what? I did share something today that was really crazy. Let me see if I could bring it up. But it's a Disney Star Wars associate who basically praised for some of the stuff. Praised for like 1313 and all them for being shut down. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find it here. I may not find it. Oh yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and open this here and bring it up. Let me go ahead and share this with you guys here before I move on in the chat. We have here Mr. Phil Sostak, or whatever, however you pronounce his name. Remember this day 10 years ago, like it was yesterday. 6 art of Star Wars books and countless live action animation publishing and games projects later. From Star Wars 1313 to the story group, I wouldn't trade the past incredibly busy but thrilling decade for anything. So he's praising basically that there's projects that were basically taken down because of the acquisition of Star Wars, canceled, mind you. He's praising that basically and saying he would not change anything. He wouldn't change any of it. Now think about that, to celebrate something like that. The absolute last straw for me was how they destroyed Kenobi. At that time, I had just the faintest flicker of hope. Reviewing the Kenobi show and seeing just how bad it was snuffed that spark. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Nah, I seen it coming. And it was crazy. I don't know. It was a crazy time in the beginning to see all that happen and see my gut instinct, my gut fear go into place, like me confirming that gut feeling. Let's see here. So the poll says, basically, let me open it back up. Are you happy with the state of Lucasfilm? And 3% said yes, and about 97% said no. So we have 64 votes right now. So again, you don't have to explain yourself. I don't even need to know who you are. Rockers Los Angeles says, I was foolish giving Lucas the benefit of the doubt even after canceling the EU from canon. But it wasn't until the last Star Wars Celebration that made me sick. Felt like exclusion to the anti-woke. Wow. That is crazy because, like I said, I don't even care right now for the celebrations. So if you're not from the woke crowd, you felt excluded. Wow, what a change of events. There it is, the tragedy of 1313 and LucasArts. Yep. Let's see here. Obi-Wan letting Vader live after he just said Anakin is dead was one of the dumbest things ever. I agree. After the Kenobi's failure, I decided to stop abusing myself. Yeah, some people, there's going to be a breaking point with some people. And like me, reason why I do compare and contrast is that it kind of keeps me sane. I do my research, I compare both sides of the lore, and I share. You know, I cannot fully do a critique video like some people can and keep my sanity. I can't. That's just not in me. That's just not in me whatsoever. And so doing the compare and contrast is a critique I would do, but it's also sharing, okay, this is what happened in the original true lore and this is what's going on now. They're breaking continuity from the original, but they also are breaking continuity with their own and giving a analysis of that. You know, and people can like it, not like it, but at least it gets people thinking. You know, it gets people thinking too. So let's see here. I'm sad about Dawn of the Jedi's cancellation. And then let's see here. Yeah, so this guy right here, you know, like I said, he's celebrating that. It's kind of it's weird. It's like he's like almost like as if that's something that he wanted to happen. Like, I don't know. I'm just, you know, throwing out scenarios and you know that, but that is just weird how that felt, how that is. So, but I just wanted to share that. So, what are the shows, or what would you have liked to see have done when it came to some games that were canceled? Like, I know we all wish that they were all published, like Sword of the Jedi published, and all these other games and stuff. But what else would you have liked to seen done? Like, besides honoring the EU, do you think that it would have been good, knowing what you know now? Do you think that it would have been good for them to continue the EU? Knowing the direction they took the company and the lore, do you think that would have been a good idea, or are you happy that they didn't? So let me know in the chat. And then those who are tuning in right now, feel free to vote. I'm gonna go ahead and close the poll here pretty soon. So if you did not vote in the poll, yes or no, that's all, let me know. Let's see here. And says, OG, it's okay. We don't want you to turn into Rhino. I admire him. I mean, for that, I'm like, do what you need to do, dude, you know, but I can't put myself through that. I just can't. It's just, you know, me, let's go ahead and just watch fan films. Have fun with that. Talk about the lore. Coffee chat, laugh at cringe factor, which coffee chat will be this Thursday. So let's see what I could see if I could top last time's cringe factor. And then go over the lore, like do lore videos and all that good stuff and share the richness, because I haven't even like scraped the surface with lore videos I've done, with all the stuff I've done and even talked on coffee chat. I haven't scraped the surface at all. There's so much to be talked about. It's so rich and dynamic with, you know, character lore and world lore and, you know, events and, you know, and all of that. It's just a wonderful place. Gutworm, I don't know if I said that right, but I apologize if I didn't. What did you think of Boba Fett with the space hipsters on Vespas? Now we are ready for war. I thought that was weird. They were trying to say, well, George loved, you know, like race cars and what have you. So this is paying homage to him. I thought that they were too clean to be on Tatooine. Speaking of like things racing around, I have quads racing by. I thought they were too clean to be on Tatooine. I thought that it just felt like with that scene and having people talk about it and viewing that scene myself, I just thought it was out of place. But I mean, that's what they wanted, right? And then more power to them. Dark Times comic series is also had to be finished prematurely because the switch to Marvel. Yeah, yep. And I adore the fictional characters Obi-Wan after the Disney after or you adore the fictional character Obi-Wan, and after Disney or after what Disney did to him, I am disappointed in my taste. Like, how could I like a character like that character, not my likes at all? Yeah, so they totally like just flipped Obi-Wan on his head, and they continue to do it here today. And I guess just recently on the Tales of the Jedi little mini series that Filoni created, they made Anakin look very abusive towards his Padawan Ahsoka. So again, I can't help but laugh when now seeing people who are so upset with Filoni retconning or changing their continuity. We warned you guys. We did. I used to be like sympathetic and saying, I don't ever want that to happen to them because I know how it feels. Now I'm like, okay, I don't give a shit anymore. So I'm laughing at that. Let's see here. Disney would have ruined the EU. I agree. I would have liked to see the Mandalorians respected more, show how the Beskar is forged, the different tech from it, how they thrive better than other communities, how clan and family were important. They totally switched that up. It's like all of a human species now. And they took a lot of the aspects that was created in the original or out of that. So that's another thing that I don't agree with. And like even like the sleeves and like the thin cloth part of the Beskar, that was made out of Beskar. So if you don't know the history of Beskar, it wasn't just making the plated armor that you see over the certain parts of their body. They were so skilled with creating and wielding and manipulating Beskar, they can make it as thin as cloth and it still be durable and strong. So I thought that was really interesting. Yep, Disney would have screwed it up. You see, I would have liked to see visual representation of Mandalorians like that. Let's see here. The Star Wars Power Rangers. That's what everybody says. Yes, please hit the like button, y'all. Bateau says, I would like more of the new Jedi Council after the Second Civil War. I always enjoy listening to Saba speak. And Kyle and Kip being there is always amazing. Like, that's a redemption. Yeah, the new Jedi Order. Oh my God. Like, seeing how it fell. You know, like, we seen how it fell to the one Sith, under the Skywalkers during that time. We've seen what happened. But I would like to see how it evolved and grew and got stronger. And then with Jaina kind of splitting off and making a secondary type, Jedi Academy that was foreshadowed in the Fate of the Jedi. So I would love to see how that evolved. I'll never understand why the hell George Lucas didn't exercise some conditions in the contract upon Disney's acquiring Star Wars. What a stupid move. Like I said, I'm not going to say nothing on that because I don't know the contract. But maybe he didn't want to have any rights, or maybe he's like, I don't want any of it because I will never retire. His whole point was to keep Star Wars company going, was not only to help preserve the company and the employees and stuff that he's responsible for, but also to keep it going when he retired, because he knew that if he just put someone in his place and still was in charge of the company, he would never step down and retire. So this was his way of retiring. I think he does regret it, especially if you ever seen the Harlem interview that he did with the Harlem School. That was a lot of remorse, seller's remorse in his voice. A lot of seller's remorse. And there goes the quads again, of course, because I am live streaming. And I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. So basically, yes is at 3% and no is at 97%. So thank you guys for voting. I could turn that off. All right. I think another thing to consider is that Disney Star Wars only goes back 200 years in the past while the EU goes back thousands of years later or hundred of years to the future. So yeah, it's expansive. Like I said, when you get into some of the celestial lore, and you might have, you know what? Now I think about it, and let me finish my thought here. But when you go into the celestial lore and how the galaxy was created, that was like 100,000 years from, I believe, the PT. I believe the PT. When I was doing my research, I forgot to know which era they said. And then you have the Old Republic, the beginning of the Old Republic, which was like 33,000 something odd years before the PT. But mind you, the Old Republic is not like what you see way in the past. The Old Republic began during that time frame and still continued all the way to the PT. When the Old Republic fell was when the empire was formed. So the Old Republic is, the time frame is vast, very, very vast. And like I think it was yesterday or the day before, people are like talking about Yaddle and why she speaks the way she does. And I'm not really going to get into that right here, maybe. I don't know. And that they were saying that, or Oz was saying, she speaks that way only, or Yoda speaks that only the way that the old Jedi spoke or the original Jedi spoke from a long ago. And so people were like, oh, well, then he's talking about, the Old Republic, and the Old Republic was invented before the movies. And then I'm like, like Tim Open Airlock Policy pointed out, no, it's mentioned in the novel. And I'm like, and they also mentioned it in the movies. And so other people pointed out where they mentioned it in the movies as well. And then someone was like, oh, you're just overthinking it. They're talking about the Old Republic and not the Galactic Republic. And then I was like, wait a minute here. The Galactic Republic is the Old Republic, because it was called both. But when people remembered the Galactic Republic that fell to the Empire, which went way back in time, they usually say Old Republic. So there's a little bit of history there. So what I'm getting at is that these people want to correct, but then they don't know the lore. They don't watch the movies. They don't get into the lore. The Old Republic was mentioned in the movies, and the Old Republic went back thousands and thousands of years, and ended at the Empire. And it was also called the Galactic Republic. So a little history there. Let's see here. Like I said, Dave Filoni is Two-Face. Dave changed a lot of the EU continuity with TCW. Yes, he did. And he's continuing to change a lot of the lore now. And that's why I'm saying, told you so. We warned you. We warned you. Dave loves to change shit. He doesn't care what came before. All he cares about is how his character is seeing through his eyes. So if he didn't write that about the character, he's going to change it. And that's even proof with Ahsoka's character, because he didn't write her in that novel. So to him, that didn't exist. See the hypocrisy there? So if it's not his character, he can give shits about it. If it's not his lore he's creating, and he shared that in TCW, he can give a shit, no shits about it. And that even goes with George's movies, because he did contradict George's movies. Now talk about respect towards the man. Even though he says, I have tons of respect, that guy lies like hell. He does. And people don't catch on. So these people who used to defend him and now are pissed off at Dave, I hope you learned your lesson. I hope you learned your lesson. Yeah. Let's see here. I was going to say some very bad words, but maybe I'll kind of keep it to the minimum here. The Slider, 1995. I'd love to see a new Dark Forces Jedi Knight game. That would be fun if they revamped it into, to fit in the technology now and stuff, and recreated it, but kept the story, everything intact. That would have been great. But after seeing what they did to Luke, I'm horrified to think what they do to Kyle Katarn. I know. He is one of the pivotal, most famous EU characters out there that people fell in love with from the start. Essentially, Beskar, a Mandalorian Star Wars version of Wakanda with their vibranium. I really didn't watch Wakanda or anything like that, so I don't know, but I'll take your word for it, and probably everybody here can kind of relate to that now. Hey, Nick McCabe, how you doing? What's up? Long time no see. Hello, everyone. It's been a while since I've caught a live stream. Yeah, and I'm so thankful you're here. Thank you for dropping in. You just missed the poll about are you happy with the 10 years later? Are you happy with the state of Lucasfilm, Disney Lucasfilm now? So you can share that in the comment, yes or no, and then what you like about it and what you don't like about it. Soul Assassin Mandalorian Metalsmith knew how to cut and forge Beskar into mini forms. Yes, our items from paper thin sheets to walls of starships, and kept it a secret from outsiders. Yes, and that's what I loved about that lore. That's what I absolutely loved about that lore too. But oh yes, let's more of Jagged and Jaina too. My favorite couple after Mara and Luke. Okay. Or lots, not lids. Okay. Hey, Christian, what's up? Hey, Star Wars trash. If like Andor, I'm not quite getting that. So you're saying, are you asking if you're Star Wars trash if you like Andor? Is that what you're trying to say? I don't know. Are you saying people who like Andor are trash? I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to say there. Let's see here. I'm just trying to shift here. Okay. But let's face it, in that poll, it was really a question. Yeah, it was really a question because I'm trying to keep some kind of honesty here, and if you liked it, you like the state, then I'm just leaving it at that. It keeps people from being pointed out and people being attacked, what have you. It's called a freedom of rights, vote, speech, whatever you want to call it, without being targeted, I guess. I don't know. How many of the original Lucasfilm employees are still there after Kennedy's purge? Kennedy? Pablo? Leland? The Chang guy? I have to look that up. So far, just off my head, I got 4. It could be a little bit more than that. Could be more than that. But let's see here. I am more hyped for DC with James Gunn. Really interesting. Okay, I'm happy. They did it not touch Shadows of Empire. Yeah, they totally retconned a lot of that, like how Leia got her Bausch's outfit, the bounty hunter's costume, all of that. A lot of that's changed. Yeah. The Republic pre-Empire lasted 25,000 years. Yep. Let's see here. I heard that KK didn't know Disney would have as much authority over the role in Lucasfilm until after the contract was signed, hence her destroying Star Wars. Can anyone confirm? I don't know. I didn't hear much of that. All I know is that her boss at the time was Iger, and then now it's Chapek. And they try to say that Disney doesn't want her to announce any more movies. However, whatever she does has to be approved by her bosses, her chain of command, which is Disney. So I think that was kind of a misleading post. I think so, because again, working in a company, before you do something, you have to get permission by the higher ups, get it all approved, make sure everything's in a line and ready to go and stuff. So that was kind of off for me, and people who took that and running saying, oh, they want to shut her up. No, because she does have a chain of a command that she has to get things approved by. She's just not this loose cannon that people think she is. So, I mean, you got to think business-wise, company-wise, And then, Lucasfilm is an umbrella company of Disney, which means that Disney has ultimate say. And even Bob Iger has said that Disney has ultimate say with what goes on, or not, yeah, in Lucasfilm. Disney has ultimate say in what goes on in Lucasfilm. Let's see. Ahsoka is trash. Never liked her. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Okay. There's people that like her and still like her. There's a lot of people that liked her at the beginning and now hate her because the direction that Dave took her. And it just gets worse now, because now she can do calm beasts, connect with their minds and stuff like that as a child before training, which that kind of force ability does need focus and training and all of that. So yeah, she just became overpowered. She's turning into a Mary Sue. Ahsoka is a bootlegged Star Killer. Changed my mind. Okay, only Star Wars I like is A New Hope. Well, that's good. I'm glad you like something out of that. Preach. Let's see here. Your favorite Star Wars characters and maybe your least favorite are just Filoni's action figures. I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who's that's dressed. Okay, let's see here. Oh wow, you guys are hopping in here. Let me see here. I'm gonna go here. Another thing I love about the real lore, only Mandalorians can manipulate Beskar. The Empire hoarded tons of Beskar, but couldn't make use of it. It was returned to them during the Legacy series. Yeah, that was funny. They didn't know how to properly, manipulate it and craft it into what they needed. Yeah. So I thought that was great. Essentially, okay, so he explains that there. Thank you so much. Okay. And I've written off everything Disney Star Wars besides Rogue One and Mandalorian season 1. Everything else I can't be arsed to watch. Wow. Okay. And then another thing I love about the real lore, only Mandalorians can manipulate Beskar. Yeah. So I read that one already. And then currently in the process of reading Kenobi, great book so far. Yes, that is a great book. It really gets into Obi-Wan's mind on like how he's handling, not being a Jedi and not doing Jedi things, but still training and still being a Jedi all at the same time. Very dynamic. I love how that book was written. I love how he has to make sure anybody that would compromise the mission that he's on by being in exile is not compromised with people, like Annalene and her family. And then what's his name? The one that he ends up being enslaved by the Tuscans. Yeah, I can't think of his name right now, but anyways, yeah. So he makes sure that he gets rid of or does away with, but in a good way, I guess you could say, kind of, people who are compromised his mission. And then Silent. Oh, I like how you spell that. Silent. My 10-year-old is almost at the end of Jedi Fallen Order, creating memories. In my honest opinion, one of the few things that came out of the Disney age. Love the Order 66 flashback sequence. Okay, that's what a lot of people say they really liked that game. And it was something refreshing to get something that was likable out of Disney Star Wars. So I guess I respect that. I mean, enjoy. Revenge of the Netherlands. I just love how some people are still being whiny bitches about Ahsoka. Yeah. And then Chaos Man says, if they wanted to go with the material that everyone wants, they should have gone for cortosis, the only material that can disable lightsabers. I know. That would have been crazy. That would have been good. Nice Ventress in the background. Thank you. I painted that. Tuscan Bob. He's got there we go. He's serving out some pills here. So Tuscan, you missed my poll, but I think we already know your answers. If I'm going to ask them anyways, because I just love how colorful you are with your words. So, do you like the state of Lucasfilm 10 years after Disney's acquisition? They become owners. And then what do you like anything about Disney Star Wars, or what's your favorite scene or whatever? And what do you not like about that? So there you go. So I would love to hear what you have to say and read it out loud to everybody here. Oh, you voted. Okay. All right. Awesome. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Yeah. And I'm done with my coffee. Oh, I have a little bit here. Yeah. So like I said, the company right now, like today's not the official date that they became the owners. That happened later on in December of 2012. So there, like I said, there's a lot of like like a lot of legalese and stuff like that before the company is fully switched to the new owners and stuff. And so today is not really necessarily the day that they became owners. Today is the day that it was announced that the paperwork was good, going through and what have you. And then in December, that's when Disney fully acquired legally Lucasfilm. So yeah. Let's see here. And I think we're going to start winding down now. So we've been here hanging out for almost an hour and a half. And so again, like I said, stay with the EU, or not just the EU, stay with the original George Lucas era, continue to share, continue to keep it in front of people, continue to keep it front and center. Because that's where the heart of Star Wars is, and that's the purpose of this channel. So I'm not celebrating the acquisition of Lucasfilm and Star Wars and stuff. And I wouldn't say this is a mourning either, because I'm done with all that shit, right? I am celebrating still being able to but still being able to share, to read, to talk about, to explore true Star Wars, not only through my channel, but through my social media as well, and at home, doing my art, which you can see behind me. It is all still here. Even though they said we're not going to use anymore, decanonize, it's still live, well, and kicking, and it still contains the heart of Star Wars, and that is George and his company as well. Let's see who's all popping in here. The day Iger tricked Lucas. Oh, the pills were the Kenobi book talk. Oh, I should have known. F Disney, anyone who supports it directly or tactic or I can't even talk today. Okay. I know you're probably laughing at me now. Seeds. Yeah. Let's see here. What's going on here? So before we close out, I want to know, what is your favorite Star Wars story outside of the movies? So what is your absolute favorite Star Wars movie, or not movie, like EU or novel, anything in the EU novel, comic, or whatever, your favorite story within all of that? So please share. We'll end with some real Star Wars talk now. I'm a bit more compared to open airlock policy. I'm a little bit more like compassionate. I wouldn't say he's not compassionate, but I'm a little bit more tolerant. I'm like, if you like what you like it. But this channel's not about Disney Star Wars anyways, but like what you like. But he's like, he's got his own opinion on that. Yes, he has his own opinion. I have a little bit more tolerance. There you go. I have a little bit more tolerance, but that's okay. But please share, what is your favorite story in the EU? Because we're not going to talk about the movies. So what's your favorite story in the EU? Share that. Maybe share something that you like about it. Yes. Starfighters of Adamar. So that's part of the X-Wing series. If you have not got into the X-Wing series, highly recommend that to you. It gets into more of the war story of cleanup after, Endor and the downfall of the Empire. Very wonderful stories right there. You get a lot of Wedge Antilles and his crew. We get the formation of the Wraith Squadron as well. And how like some of the planets are even responding to the fall of the Empire and stuff like that, and how they liberated Coruscant. Very wonderful. And you get one of the best female antagonists ever, and that's Isani Isard, or Ice Heart. And so she's amazing in the stories as well. Let's see here. Let's see. It reminds me, I need to find Baby Yoda Thanksgiving gift. That's all I have to say about that. The Shadows of the Empire. Everything that was released during the Clone Wars multimedia timeline into the Dark Times and anything before 2008. And the Orange Hat says, Dark Rendezvous would be my answer to that OG Star Wars. Yoda's character expansion is truly great because it kept the species unknown and only gave more background to his character. Awesome. Hands of Thrawn duology. Jedi Outcast. Let's see here. Couture comic with Zane Carrick. Awesome. Rogue Squadron series. Dustin Weaver's issue of Knights of the Old Republic Dark Horse comics. Awesome. You're very specific on that. Batsy, I really enjoyed the character of Xizor, someone who was rival to Vader and a visible threat to Luke, the Alliance, without being Force sensitive. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, Soul Assassin, you're coming here all smartassery with all your smartassery and that Yoda wannabe bastard. You know how I feel about him, and you've been doing that to me all day today. Oh my god. Oh my god. You know what? If you did that, because I'm thinking about getting a PO box, because I haven't done that. I've always been wanting to get a PO box for my channel. But if you did that to me, I would do a burning. I would do a live stream burning. I would thank you. I would sincerely thank you. But I would do a burning of that. What's that? Oops, I meant to do EU elitist. Old Prince Caesar. Yeah. Yeah. But I would honestly I would thank you, sincerely thank you. And maybe with one of these. And then I would burn them. Yeah. We would have a roasted baby Grogu. Yeah. Yeah. Baby Yoda is not selling anymore. Yes, burn the gremlin. Yeah. As for me, it changes from time to time. Let me see what he has to say here. Is there an EU book where a giant beast grabs young Boba Brat by the feet and uses him as a club to beat C3? Oh my god. Of course. I am going to have to do a little animation for you on that, Tuscan Bob. My gift to you. I will have to figure that one out. I would have to think that out. I have something in my mind right now that this would really, really, really just really please Tuscan Bob Greg. Yeah. You got my creative juices flowing here. Cook him on a spit, we would. And let's see here. Star Wars Legacy Comics, K, Darth, Talon, etc. And that's what I was going to get before I read that from Tuscan is my likes kind of change off and on a lot. But I keep going back to my favorite book being from Legacy of the Force, Inferno. I love that book. I love the interactions between Luke and his nephew, Jason, or Darth Kaitis. I love how, how torn up Ben feels about everything and how he wants revenge and how he kind of goes dark and wanting to seek revenge and all of that. I just love that book on so many levels right there, because we get to see how Luke would respond into something like that. And that's one of my favorites, absolute favorite. I would treasure that. I know you would. Kind of hard to choose one book when there's so many. Yeah, because usually it's there's times where you have each one in each era, or maybe a couple in each era of Star Wars. So you like Legacy of the Force? You like the whole series? I'm confused. We are with the Star Wars girl? What are you confused about? The Star Wars girl? It's going to be an animatronic Grogu lit on fire. I don't know what that's about. Please hit the like button, y'all. Yes. Off to an appointment. If I'm not back soon, I'll be wish everyone a great day. Yeah, we're going to start closing out now here. I just wanted to sit back and talk the state of Star Wars, our Disney Lucasfilm today. What are your guys' thoughts? Honestly, creating an honest conversation here, whether you're going to spit out like piss on Disney Lucasfilm, or you like either some things I liked, some things I hated kind of deal. Again, like I said, I have a little bit more tolerance than some of my companions here, and that's fine because that's what keeps us really unique, is that we can, we're not an echo chamber basically. But I just wanted to discuss this. And today is not the actual day, like I said, that, Star Wars became full property of Disney Lucasfilm, or Disney, or, you know what I mean, Lucasfilm towards Disney and stuff. And I just wanted to talk about like also your favorite Star Wars stuff when it comes to the George Lucas era as well. Again, mine goes and falls into Legacy of the Force. However, my first book I ever read was Truce at Barkura, which I thought was pretty darn good. I have some of the tales of books, Tales of Jabba Palace, Tales of the Empire, etc., etc. I like them since they are short and random. Yeah, those are good stories to read. It's very, very fun. If I ran Lucasfilm, I publicly apologize to Gina Carano to hire her back, then have her character murdered, and eat Grogu. Then I fire her again. Oh my god. Oh, damn. The Republic Commando Series 2, the first EU book I read. Let's see. I'm guessing he's laughing at Tuscan's comment there. You can guess my favorite trilogy. I wonder what it is. Do you have it in the name? Is it in your name? Say my name. Say my name. All right. Gordon. OG Star Wars. Tim saying you're cooler than Anna. Oh, okay. I guess I didn't get that correlation. Gordon's just laying it out there. It's laying it out there. Yeah. Okay, let's say women who like real Star Wars are at a premium. You know what? I'm going to ask one more question here, and then we'll go, because to me, like I said, I missed you guys. We're still like over an hour and a half. I like to keep these within 2 hours, so we still have time. So, what was the first Star Wars either game, like board game, or any type of board game, or any type of merch like figure that you ever got as a child? So what was your first figure, Star Wars figure or board game or whatever that you got as a child that you can remember? So let's see here. All right, these murders jokes are enough for me. Good night. Good night. And then Tuscan Bob, Star Wars is PG-13, sir. Have a good night, Orange Hat. Yes, I agree. So what was your first Star Wars figure, action figure, or board game or whatever that you had? Share with me. Was it a lightsaber? Was it an X-Wing? Share with me here. I would like to know. Inquiring minds would like to know. Do I have any more? Oh, yeah. Now I am done. Let's see here. First Star Wars toy I ever got was Darth Vader's tie advance. Really? That's pretty cool. Probably my episode 1 Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon figure started me down the toy rabbit hole. Wonderful. Good night. And then Luke, Han, and Lando action figures. So you got that. No Princess Leia? Whoa. Okay. I don't know what that was about. Let's see here. Darth Vader, TIE Fighter, X-Wing models. Let's see here. The Falcon with a solo action figure. Oh, okay. I wish, you know what? If you guys are on my YouTube channel, well, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So if you guys are on my YouTube community page, and if you're not, get your asses over there. What are you missing on? What are you missing out for? You know, get over there, get your asses over there. Um, anyways, so I'm going to give you guys homework because that's just like what I like to do. So since I asked you what was your first action figure or maybe board game or something, if you could find, if you don't have it anymore and you can't take a picture, if you find a picture, image of it, Google it or whatever, share with us there. I would love to see pictures of that. Let's just go ahead and just, you know, have fun with all the nostalgic like action figures that influenced you, your very first one, very first board game or what have you. Share with me over there. That sounds like fun. You know, let's keep this fun here, you guys. Let's keep it fun. So if you guys aren't a part of the community page and you're on Twitter, share it here or share it there. Yeah, I would love to see it. I would love to see it. It's been a while since I've seen some of these figures. You know, Tim or Open Airlock Policy does share some action figures, which I think is neat because it just brings back like their, you know, the memories, I guess you can say. And but share it there. But you share what you have here today, and then find the image and go over there and share it over there. Let's see here. The first action figure was the 12-inch Luke Skywalker doll because my dad was being slick because it was too big to take to school. Oh, wow. Let's see here. I know my older sister had a Nintendo, the Nintendo games. Oh my God, Nintendo. Bring back the days. Okay, Mom. Yes. I see. I should have my glasses on, you know, and I have my blouse on, you know, be like a teacher, have a ruler here, share with me, you know, your action figures. I just not wearing a short skirt and high socks. I'm sorry. I'm wearing jeans. I'm sorry. I have Star Wars Monopoly. Awesome. Let's see. Still have my first Star Wars toys. Share pictures. Take a picture. Share with me over there. I want to see. I want to see it. Good. Or God, she's given out homework. Yes, I am. And, you know, I almost want you to send me that Grogu now so I could burn it. I'm like kind of anticipating that now. I guess that's the morbid side of me, but we're coming towards Halloween. Might as well. So I should. Like I said, too bad I didn't have my glasses on, you know, like a big old teacher bun in my hair, short skirt, knee-high socks, and with my ruler, share with me or else you'll get punished. I don't know what the square is about. I had the Star Wars A New Hope Nintendo game, and my little brother took it. Oh, I would have beat him. No, I'm joking. That's a turn on. They better be skinny jeans. Let's see here. I still have my Chewbacca plushie from 7920. Really? I want to see that. Okay, yeah, you guys share. Yes, you do know what it's about. Let's see here. Yeah. So again, there's your guys' assignment there. Go find me on Twitter if you haven't yet. Go find my community YouTube page. Not YouTube page, basically community, because I do have a community YouTube page. I'm not going to have you guys share it here. My community Twitter page. Share your first toy, your first board game or action figure with me over there. I want to see what you guys, even if it's a lightsaber. We all had lightsabers. My first freaking lightsaber was just a made one out of cardboard tubing or whatever. That was my first, not purchase, but that was my first, like, you know, thing with Star Wars, is that we didn't have anything yet. We're into Star Wars, so we made our own lightsabers and had fun playing Jedi. So there's mine. And then my first Star Wars game was actually Rogue Squadron. Oh, nice. Let's see here. OG Star Wars, I'm going to get in trouble if you do sexy librarian streams. Yikes. Yeah. Okay. Laugh out loud. My first lightsaber was a green broomstick. Interesting. Interesting. But like any merch that your parents bought you, your very first merch, basically. Share your merch with me. Let's see here. Let me see. Can we send it as a YT clip? A YT clip. YouTube clip? Yeah, we took those long ones, we took duct tape, wrapped it up, and made it kind of like hollow kind of. So it didn't hurt that much because yeah. And then we just constructed our own lightsabers that way. So we took a couple or sometimes three and YouTube clip. Yeah, you could share the YouTube clip. Okay, I know what you're saying. But we took that, used the duct tape because duct tape helped fix everything, right? And made our own lightsabers that way. And because we were very ambitious, sometimes we painted them the color we wanted. So that's how we did that. But I think we just went above and beyond, I guess. But then we also had, this is where we get kind of morbid here. We had I think it was called a yucca plant or whatever, but you could pull off the long, like, it looked like when you pulled it, it looked like a mini sword. So we pulled that off. It was a long thing. And at the end, it had the little pokey end, the little thorn at the end. And we also used that. So yeah, so we did kind of get morbid a little bit. Yeah. Let's see here. Do we still get the sexy school teacher even if we don't do homework? I shouldn't have gone there. Now you guys are like, give us the sexy teacher, school teacher. I had the Star Wars video game for the Atari. Oh, that's fun. That was fun. I loved going like at our local grocery outlet center or like shopping center. There was an arcade there. So we would walk down there and I loved playing some of those the arcade games, Star Wars games there, like the ping pong one and the other ones, the one that, so those were the best. I remember walking down, getting ice cream, walking to the arcade place with a bunch of coins and having fun. Yep. Let's see here. We had fluorescent bulbs. Whoa. That is some shit right there. I think OG started something with the school teacher. I think so too. I remember playing Jedi and Sith with my friends at school with colored translucent rulers. Oh wow. Okay. We were some imaginative kids, huh? Playing backyard Revenge of the Sith Return of the Jedi when I was supposed to be doing yard work. Oh yeah. With the rakes and stuff. Let's see here. I was definitely the Star Wars kid in elementary school. Laugh out loud. Yeah. Yeah. So we had fun. We had fun back in the days when there was no electronics, no like internet stuff. It was like everything, all the imagination was in the mind here. You created, or if you were lucky to have, the lightsaber or whatever, but you created your fun. You used your full imagination physically, and that was fun. Those are fun times. Very, very fun times. Yeah. Loved it. Loved it. Let's see here. I wasted a lot of quarters on whichever Star Wars arcade game had the trench run. Yeah, I remember the trench run. I remember that. The pre-internet was golden age. Yeah, it was. And I loved climbing trees too. I'm not trying to get off topic, but I love climbing trees. I love like riding around in the neighborhood on our bikes, either piggybacking on someone's bike or being the one that rides the bike and having someone piggyback with me. We would also go swim in ditches or canals. I mean, we were just like open and free. We were all over raising hell, having fun as kids, and good times. Back in the good old days. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see here. I think we're coming to a conclusion here. Yes, those were the days. Yeah. So again, assignment to your kids. Hey, no. But please share on my YouTube, not YouTube, I keep on saying YouTube, share on my Twitter community page the toy or the board game or whatever that was your very first Star Wars experience, like with merch, basically. I would love to see that, and just to celebrate Star Wars, not what it become and has became, like what has it has became, but what it is, like what it is and will always be within our hearts. Well, what it always will be within the George Lucas era of Star Wars, because like I said, it's still there. It's not gone. That's why I'm not really mourning any of this. Yeah, I don't like the direction it went. I think it was a big mistake, and I did see Sellers' remorse when watching him in the interview at the Harlem. um, However, it's still with us. It's still there. We still have the books, and these are not like we still have the books. These are not really the novels, but we still have the books. Let me see here. I have one close to me here. See, I'm wearing jeans, you guys. That's not the right one. We still have the books here. And this is basically the movie book, but still, we still have them. Look at the hardcover. Look at that. We still have that. It's still here. The heart of Star Wars is still alive within the George Lucas era. It's never going to be gone. It's gone now in the Disney era, but screw them. Screw them. At this point in time, I'm happy where I'm at, right? I'll still compare and contrast. I'll still talk about it with, like-minded people, and share, celebrate characters, planets, systems, ships, all of that. All of that. It's still here. So when I see someone like one of you guys, or maybe someone that doesn't come to my stream saying it's now gone, like it's no more, or they're mourning it, I'm like, it's still there. You just got to pick up the friggin' book and read it. It's still there. It's still there. It's still, if it's still within your heart and you love it, purchase it, try to find it without the Legends label, and read, share, talk about it. Because as long as we continue to read, share, talk about it, it's alive. It's alive and well. And it's never gone. It's never gone. And that's what the other people who don't like the EU or like George Lucas era Star Wars, they want to silence us. They want us to be quiet. They want us to sit back in the background because it's not made for us. It was made for us. And it's still here. It is still here since its inception by George Lucas. And it will always be. And for me, I don't allow someone to silence me, shut me up. That's where it fires me up. And I'm like going to be in their face and talking about it. I don't care if they get pissed off at me. I don't care about any of that. Because once you tell me something I can't do, I'm going to do it. Like you tell me to stop talking about the EU. Well, guess what? I'll be like this. And this is my favorite sign today, right? And I'm going to continue to talk. And that's why I encourage you guys, continue to talk about what you love. Talk about the heart of Star Wars. Talk about even George and, how he created these stories through, and you got the sources here in these books, like the annotated screenplay. Put that front and center. Let them know that you're a force to be reckoned with when it comes to Star Wars and what you love. And that's what this is all about. So like I said, this isn't about mourning. To me, this is about celebration, that it's still here for me to talk with you guys about, to read, to have you guys to go to my community page and share what very first toy merch that you had as a child. That's where it's at, you guys. And it's still here. It's still here. So thank you guys again for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We had this up to like 35 people here. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening, talking about Star Wars, the state it is currently. I'm just so happy that the company under George never wanted a reboot, and they never did a reboot. Never, ever. And that's what we could celebrate today. Never was a reboot until the new company. And that I can celebrate. That I could celebrate its consistency, its history, the brilliant minds that were behind it, including George, who opened up this galaxy towards us. And if you see someone trying to defend the new Star Wars with George's quotes, shut that shit down, because George had nothing to do with them. So them using George's comments to kind of like to defend, like even Andor, he never envisioned Andor. Shut that shit down. Be truthful. Shut it down, because they're not being truthful. None of them are being truthful. Not even Disney Lucasfilm is being truthful when printing or doing their content. Not even Filoni. So shut that shit down. Yeah. Then you guys have a great day. I know I got serious now from making you guys laugh. The teacher is signing out. And I will talk to you later. Again, share your images on my community page on Twitter. And you guys have a great day. And may the force be with you. Always talk to you this Thursday. Coffee chat, 9 a.m. See you guys then. Peace out.
Another happy landing.
I have fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure if this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the new Jedi Order.